Hey, everybody, I am Bobby.
And I am Jeff.
And this is Before the Show, the Vixen podcast, where we are interviewing all the acts, or some of the acts, that are going to be right here behind us on this Vixen stage in the weeks to come. And Jeff, do you want to talk a little bit about what we've got coming up this summer?
John Corabi. We have John Corabi coming in a couple weeks.
May 13th. That's going to be such a great show.
Awesome show.
I never really knew the name, but he led Motley Crue. He played with Rat. Phenomenal career, and I'm super excited for that one.
And he's got an all-star band behind him. Tesla's drummers there, and a couple other people.
There were some.
Right now.
Yep. There's definitely some heavy hitters in that show.
What else do we have coming? We have Static X coming in July with Dope. And that's July.
That's going to be a good show.
21st.
Static X. Let me see. Isn't this bad? We have so many great shows coming up. Ta-da! July 16th.
July 16th.
You can find all these on vixenmchenry.com, by the way. That's where you can get your tickets as well.
Yep, we have Plush coming up. All-girl band.
29th. Super pumped about that show. I've not seen them. I heard they're pretty. We have people flying in for that show.
Yep.
So I'm guessing it's a pretty good one.
Great show. And their label mates, ROCKETT MAFIA, Rikki Rockett from Poison, will be here on
May 21st. This one's coming up. As a matter of fact, Jeff, that's who we have as a guest
on
our show today. And I am so excited. So Rikki Rockett, the drummer from Poison, this is their 40th anniversary this year of the founding of Poison, I believe.
No, Look What the Cat Dragged Him, the album.
Oh, the album, the album, not the founding of the band.
Yeah.
Anyways, they're playing the entire album. And I am super excited to have Rikki here. So should we just bring him on and get this started? Let's go. Hello, Rikki. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. We are so excited to have you.
Glad to be here. Thank you. Thank you for doing it.
I will tell you, if my 15-year-old self knew I was going to be sitting in this podcast many years ago, it would have been pretty exciting. Pretty exciting.
You would have ran the other way, huh?
I would have been pretty pumped to be here. So we've got this show coming up on Thursday, May 21st. We've got the ROCKETT Mafia. We've got all kinds of questions for you, but tell us a little bit about what the audience can expect in this show, and then we'll dive into a little history, if that's okay.
Sure. Yeah, so, we're still working on things, but, I decided at the beginning of the summer, once I knew that Poison wasn't going to tour and do the 40th anniversary, I was like, well, that's a shame. How can I make this into a good thing? And I thought, why not go out and do the first record, top to bottom, do all those, because I'm always hearing from fans, God, I wish you guys would play such and such a song or this deep cut and I thought, if I do the first record, then they get to hear all of it. You know what I mean? And I thought that might be kind of interesting for the fans. If I had my druthers, I think it would also be pretty cool for Poison to do maybe something in Vegas where we do one of the records from top to bottom and something like that. I always thought that idea would be cool, but I don't think we're going to do that. So I just thought, you know what? I'll do it with ROCKETT Mafia. Let me see if the guys are interested in doing something like this. And everybody's like, yeah, I think it's a great idea. Let's do it, So I was like, let's do it. Let's do it the Cat Dry. I said, but the thing is, I don't want to do, this isn't a tribute band. You know what I mean? We're not going to come out looking like we did in 1986. You know what I mean? It's an evolved version. If I could go back and play drums on that record today, and I was recording it for the first time, what would I play? Would I play it differently? And the answer is yes, because I've evolved, So we're trying to evolve it a little bit. Not crazy that it's unrecognizable or anything like that, but that it gives it a little something extra, because a Poison cover band is going to come in and do the songs exactly like they were, try to look like we did. That's not what's going on here. This is a tip of the hat to what we did 40 years ago. That's what it is, with some extra bling to it. You know what I mean? So that's the idea.
Oh, that's exciting. I didn't really realize it was going to be the whole first album. That's very cool.
It's going to be very cool.
Yeah.
You brought up, that you really wanted to do the 40th reunion tour with all the guys, and it just didn't come together. Was that, I mean, you hear all kinds of stuff in the press, like because of certain people or certain guys couldn't get together. Is there something more than that? Was there something more than that you guys couldn't put the I mean, because you guys would have crushed on a 40th anniversary tour. There's no doubt about it. So and I'm so
It's all
disappointed that
my
didn't happen.
fault.
I'm sure it's all your fault.
It's all my
So what's
fault
the real answer
because
there?
I've been getting such huge offers that I just can't see doing a Poison tour.
Yeah, right. The money's too good at the Vixen, right? I mean, come on.
I mean, it is an
Yeah,
exciting
so
place.
we've had our stuff. We are meeting, you ready for this? On Thursday. So I will know more on Thursday. I wish we could be doing this interview like Friday because I'm
Right,
going to know a whole
right.
lot more on Thursday about that one. So, and
Well, it's
hopefully,
exciting to know that.
fingers crossed, it'll be a good meeting.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
great.
Awesome. So you were one of the founders of Poison. You and Brett started it together, right?
Yes.
And so back then when you started out, what did success look like to you? I mean, what were you thinking the band was actually going to aspire to be? And did you surprise yourself a little bit with the success?
Yeah, we totally surprised ourselves. I pinch myself literally often still to this day. Uh, but, like back in Pennsylvania, there was some bands that had broke through, like the Hooters and the Sharks and Kicks and the Vamps. Some of those bands, were like on a regional level. Some of them, like Kicks, were on a national level. And I thought, those guys aren't AC/DC level, but they're making a really good living and they're having a great time. If we could ever get to that, that would be great. I'd be happy with that. Just, and so I think at one point in time, we just went, we're not going to be happy with just that. That's no, you don't grab a brass ring by settling for anything except uh, absolute, the top of the chain that you can get to. So I think at one point in time, we just sat down and went, all the energy right now is on the West Coast. And that's where, at that time, that's where the energy was. I mean, you had Motley and Rat and all these bands coming out of the Los Angeles area. So we knew we had to get there. That was where people were listening to original music by bands of our genre. In Harrisburg and the tri state area, New Jersey and Maryland and all that, it was, you did covers and you threw in a song or two when you could. You know what I mean? And that's not going to sell records. That's going to sell, you know, drums and Gibson guitars and that type of stuff. That's not, I don't want to say it's not the music business, but it's not the music business that I want to be in. I wanted to be in the real music business where we sold records, you know what I mean? So the only way forward was to take a chance and come out this way, uh, and we had to figure it out, man. I mean, like there was no recipe. People would say there was a recipe, but there wasn't, because the recipe we tried to follow, we kept getting stopped constantly, saying, "Well, you need this and you need that. You need to go more extreme with your look. You need to." Tone down your look. You need to do this kind of music. You need to, uh, uh, so many, I think our biggest problem was at the very beginning was that we tried to get a record deal right away. And instead of building a following, so people would understand who we were. So we didn't get a deal. We got turned down by everybody. And then we built a following, like really went crazy building following. Like we were voted number one draw in Los Angeles, and I forget what year, 85 maybe, and Music Connection magazine. So we're like, see, holding up the magazine, we're number one. We got there. We got there. Now we can record deal. Nope. Didn't you guys come to us a year ago? So then we went for it all over again. But there was a little label, Enigma Records, that said, I like what's going on here. These guys, they saw something in us. They saw that we were different, and that they signed bands that were different. They were not just an indie label that were collecting bands. There were labels that were doing that and still do that, where it's like, if I have 50 bands and they're all doing a little something, that's a lot of money. Or you can have 10 bands and work it really, really, really hard. Okay. I think Enigma was completely different. I think they were like, we want to, I mean, they were pretty much an alternative label at that point in time. Most of their bands were punk, with the exception of Striper, who they signed. Uh, but I think they saw them as something alternative. When you have a band that is, I mean, nobody was doing Christian hard rock back then that I remember. I mean, Jars of Clay and all these other bands came later, right? And so I think they saw that as alternative. I think there was uh, all those cow punk bands and all this stuff that was just the Smithereens were another one of their bands, and I think they saw Poison as this post punk, post glitter rock band that's trying to be Van Halen. Like, I'm not sure what they thought of us, but they thought there was something different going on. They weren't interested in signing other bands that were similar to Rat, let's say, or whatever. They thought we had something going on, and they were right. So, like,
They
I
were.
think, I think, I think, we were supposed to happen, and we did, and that's the part that I pinch and go, thank you, I did something right.
So when you look back at that, kind of glam, image you guys had, I mean, you definitely had a image going on. Was it really strategic, or did it feel like it was more instinctual to you guys to kind of be yourselves and kind of, like you said, create that post hairband, post glam thing that had been so popular at the time?
It started. It started a little bit thought out. Okay, Brett and I had sat down. We were in a band. I had a band, and my the bass player at the time is who found Brett. He was a busboy at the same restaurant, and I just got word that there was a guy with long hair that had his own PA, and he was a singer. I said he needs to come down here, whoever the hell he is. And so the rest is history. But it turned out that Brett and I eventually left that band. We could not get the other two guys to really step it up. We were ready to step it up. They were falling into jobs and that kind of thing, and saying, "Well, we'll play on the weekends." We're like, we want to play all the time and phase the job thing out. Like, that's what we want to do. And so we weren't agreeing on a very basic level. And so uh, we sat down and went, what, as a fan, would you want to see in a band? And we talked about our first concerts, all the records that inspired us. And we realized that most of them were these over the top, uh, sort of almost borderline theatrical bands, like Kiss and Queen
There it is.
and Mott the Hoople and Bowie and all this kind of stuff. But we loved the rawness of, Van Halen and even Leonard Skinner. Do you know what I mean? Like a Molly Hatchet. We loved all that stuff. But we wanted to look like, we had pictures of the way Angel was dressing and all these bands, and like, let's look like that. Okay, so we already know what we want to sound like. We already know what we want to look like. How do we want to act? And it's like, I don't want anybody to be boring on stage. Like, I want everybody to be equal, to be energetic, to be a very energetic show the whole way through, top to bottom. Not the bass player just standing there, and the guitar player goes nuts and whenever he feels like it. And we wanted a very cohesive unit, as it were. And then so we set out to find the right members, and Bobby Dahl was the first guy that came along and said, I like this idea. What do we need to do? You want to cut my hair and color it? What do you want to do? I think I, and so one of the first things Bobby did was bolt his strap to his bass, to his bass so that it wouldn't fall off because he decided I'm never going to just stand there on stage again, you know? And so that was the idea. And I think it just evolved over time. You you wear clothes. It's not even so much about what clothes you're wearing, it's the attitude you wear it with. I feel like we got a little bit off course at one point because the part of our involvement that I liked the most was when we would each get like $100 from playing a show. And we'd run down to Aardvarks on Melrose and just buy used stuff and make it our own, right? And I think later we got to a point where we weren't doing that anymore, and the same people that were making our stuff were making it for other people, and then things started to look a little bit the same. So that's when, like, on Flesh and Blood, we took a direct change. We're like, okay, we're not doing that anymore. We're not going to work with any of these people that make clothes for other rock bands anymore. We're done with it. And if you look at the back cover, we don't look like that anymore. Like, we just literally stopped, like cold turkey. We're done with it. And but it didn't matter. It was following us by then. By then it was like, oh, those guys are hairspray and this and okay, so whatever. But so we just kept evolving. I think, but even by native tongue, it was still we were still glamorous, but we were glamorous in a whole different way. You can make fringe suede look glamorous if you have the right attitude behind it. And when I say that, what I'm really saying is that I think if you have this central attitude about how you want to present yourself, I think the music comes very easily. I think the look, what you say in interviews, how you present yourself to the audience, I think all those things fall into place if you know what you want to convey to people. And with Poison, we had decided that we wanted to have people that to walk away having an experience and a really good time. That doesn't mean we can't laugh together, cry together, feel emotion, but it means that at the end of the day, we're going to walk away feeling elevated. That was the idea, and I think we still do that. And I do that as an individual artist. As well, and I think Brett does it and what the things he's doing, and but as a band, we definitely do. That doesn't mean we don't have our eye on everything. I mean, we have a lot of sad songs, and some of them are hard hitting. Some of them, but the major amount of what we've written about is uh, how do you look forward to making something a little bit better in your day? What's that look like? I mean, when we wrote the first record, we didn't have a pot to piss in. I'm sorry, I hope I don't um, we
It's
didn't have a
good.
damn thing here. We can edit that. And so, the idea of cruising down Sunset in a car with no roof and having a bunch of chicks and stuff wasn't a reality for us. That was projection. That's what that was. And that's what you do when you don't have anything. You project it, you know what I mean? And you're wishing it basically. You're going, I want that life. I want to have that life. You know what I mean? The rappers do it all day long, right? And eventually it becomes a reality for most of these people, if they really try hard enough and project enough and get people to believe it. I think you
That's
can manifest things if you believe it enough. I'm
So
absolutely.
going on a rant. I am so
No,
you,
I
sorry.
love it. I love
no, it
it.
makes it easier on me and Bobby.
Yeah.
So you said you projected and you got all, you finally hit the jackpot. Well, not the jackpot. That's the wrong word, but you finally achieved fame and achieved all these great things when the first record popped, and all these great things came out of it. Did anything come out of it that was unexpected, that wasn't really welcome once you received, once you got to that level? Is there any unexpected things of fame that you didn't really want or realize how not as good as you thought it would be?
Yeah, tons of stuff. I mean, it's a lot of it's in my book, Ghost Notes. It's coming out in August. I don't mean to do this shameless plug, but
No, please
No,
do.
I
I
like
go
it.
in
Ghost
depth about
notes. Ghost notes.
I Yes. So I go in depth about a lot of this stuff. And yeah, a lot of things are not what you think they're going to be, right? And some of them are, um, but all this comes with a price. I've always said that the thing that was the weirdest about being in a cycle, when I say a cycle, I mean whether it's just a tour, whether it's a video record tour, all that, okay, can go for a couple of years. A cycle of all that can potentially go that long. And you're in Groundhog Day. Every day you're waking up, you're going to bring the same party that you brought the night before. To new people, you want to give them that experience, but then you go home and it's like, oh my God, there's a new neighborhood. So and so got married. So and so graduated from school. You're in suspended animation for that period of time, but the world has moved on. You know what I mean? And that's the weirdest part because you are taking this chunk of what you're doing and you're moving it along a timeline. Like it's like physics or something. It's very bizarre, I feel like. And if you're not careful, I think that you can forget how they evolve as a human being. And that is a thing I see all the time with my contemporaries. I've got some really good friends, guys like Fred Corey and different people that are incredible human beings. And there's other people who I won't name that they've never left 20 years ago or 30 years ago. They just have not evolved as a person. They forget to open doors for a girl. They forget to say thank you to people. I just see like they devolve a little bit, and I hate seeing that. So my advice to anybody that like goes, somebody once said if you've got to come down the same steps you go up, you got to kind of remember where you're from. You really do. Um, but you are in a different place, so you protect yourself differently, and you have to set different boundaries at one point in time, and that can look different to your friends. And sometimes your friends will be like, "What happened to you, bro?" And it's like, "Nothing. But I can't go to that bar with you like I did 5 years ago because that's all I'm going to do is take pictures and sign shit. And I can't even have a drink with you. So we need to do this different." Oh, you let everything change you. No, no. You know what I mean? There's those kinds
Yeah.
of things. And that can be disheartening. And then it can evaporate very quickly. All that can evaporate. And then somebody will turn around and go, "See, you were being a dick back then." It's the balance to balance all this crap, it is tough. It really is.
It's gotta be like living
All
in a
I can
different
do.
reality.
It
I was
it
gonna
it,
say it's
it
gotta be like
is.
living, yeah, different reality
and then go
completely.
and then going from last year or the year before when you were out with Crew and Def Leppard in stadiums to coming to, doing 800 cap clubs and theaters. It's got to be another whole different set of reality to deal with. And so I'm sure that's how do
It
you
is.
tackle that? How do you go from playing in front of 40,000 people that kind of get you up and to go into play an 800 cap room?
It's not like I've never done that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not culture shock for me. I expect it with a band like this. This band is not Poison. I know that, and that's okay. I like proving myself to people. I like taking something and having a good time with it and bringing it out and trying to convince people this was worth their time to come see. You know what I mean? And it's going to be worth their time to come see. But I know what you're saying. Like, is it a mind,
Absolutely.
twist to I mean, it is a little bit, but I mean, at one point in time when Poison on our second record, when we were still doing theaters, when we'd headline, and sometimes we'd open for David Lee Roth and this and that, and then we go over and we do Castle Donington, and we're in front of 160,000 people or something crazy like that. And then you come back and it's like, was that reality or was that reality? I don't know. It's um, I'm more nervous in front of small crowds than big crowds. I really am. David Lee Roth talked about the IQ, right? He's like, The bigger the crowd, the smaller their IQ, right? So I know that at a crowd the size of what we're going to play for at the Vixen, that's not a low IQ. That's an IQ where people are paying attention. They're watching every note. They're watching every move. So, you got to be on your game. Not that you ever have an excuse to not be, but I'm just saying that you can see it in their face. Like if it's, I kind of in many ways like it a little bit more in the sense that you get that instant feedback with a smaller crowd. I can tell if it's working or not, like real quick. And these big, massive crowds, sometimes, it's fanfare. It's like they're gonna jump up and down. Like you can say something nuts, right? Brett can go up there and go, and people go, yeah.
Woo!
He does that quite a bit,
Try
I
doing
think,
that
doesn't
at the
he?
Vixen. If we do that at the Vixen, somebody's gonna go, what the hell did he
What
say?
did he?
Rewind that, please. So,
Uh, you had mentioned when the band started that you guys were really intentional about making sure every member kind of shared the spotlight, right? Like that it was about everybody in the band, not maybe just the singer and that sort of thing. What do you
yeah.
think is the difference between a good drummer and a memorable drummer? Like what's that differentiator?
Um, I think, hold on one second. I didn't spit in the floor, by the way. Um, not me spitting on the floor. Um, I think that like to me, you know, I mean, I can name people that are memorable. I think it's one of the things that separates Neil Peart from a lot of great, drummers that we look up to, because you could always tell when he was playing on something. He'd do those melodic toms and come down, he'd do a lot of different things, a lot of flams, different things that other drummers didn't use. Although there's a lot of drummers that can play as well as him. And some people might argue and say, "Oh, okay, you can." No, there's some talented guys out there that have the chops to do what he did. But what he did was more memorable. Bunny Carlos, from Cheap Trick. There's always that little tiny sense of humor in his drumming that made you always, go, "Wow, that's Bunny Carlos playing on that." Just the simple fills he would do and where his placement was, and Charlie Watts. I think Charlie Watts is another great example where Keith is almost off the rails all the time, okay? And Charlie would bring it back. And it's this boat that's going like this when you're listening to the Rolling Stones, right? And it's like, is that going to fall off the edge? Is it going to crash any second? It's going to crash any second, and it never does, right? And you're sitting there going, wow, that's the kinds of moments to me that make music or rock and roll great. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. I think that's fascinating. I think with Poison, CC pushes, like he is on top. He is like one of these guys that he's almost a beat ahead, and I kind of I have a little bit of a swing to the way I play. So I sit just a little bit behind the beat, always consistently. And there's this push and shove all the time. And I think that's what makes us work. That's what sounded different about Native Tongue. It was different than that. It was a lock, and it sounded great between Richie and I. But with Cece, it's a different kind of lock. It's almost a civil war when we're playing. It's like it's perfect.
I love it.
Am I
When you
making any sense to you guys at
Yeah,
all?
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
That's great. I love that. I was really thinking about it, like, another question I had kind of along sort of the same lines is, we hear all these recordings and we're listening to Poison and that sort of thing, but what song, if there's a song or multiple songs, when you play them live, just really hit completely different than maybe what we're used to hearing the tracks for?
And emotionally, you mean?
Sure. Yeah, probably. I would say it'd be emotionally.
Well, I mean, the most fun song to play for me is on Skinny Bop because it does have that swing to it, and so it's different than the other songs. It's just digging more of a groove. Um, Something to Believe in is one of those songs. Okay, so when Every Rose went to number one, it went to number one over the holidays. Okay, like really close to the holidays, and we were on break, so we were done touring right then. And one of our security guys, Chemo, who was very close to us, he took care of us every day, rode the bus with us. I mean, we were with this guy more than anybody else. Okay? Um, Within 3 days of that song going number one, Chemo died in an unfortunate accident, which I think is an accident. I think it was death by misadventure. But that just tainted it. And so, Something to Believe in, a big chunk of that song is a reaction to that song, because here we have our first number one, our only number one. We've had a bunch of top tens. We're very lucky, but that was the only number one single. I mean, we were over Madonna and George Michael and Thompson Twins and all this stuff, right? That even Michael Jackson, okay? We were number one in the country. It's crazy to think that, right? And it wasn't by accident, it was by working our way, from the clubs all the way. It wasn't we just got lucky with a song. I mean, it was we worked for that, and our payoff was one of our guys died, and we can't even enjoy ourselves. You know what I
Oh,
mean? You're like we're crying every 5 minutes and everything. It was really tough. That's what if we go back to one of the earlier questions, like what is those? You still are not immune to everyday crap happening to you. I,
yeah.
I thought maybe that would all change. I'll fix it somehow.
Every
No.
day is going to be happy. Nope, 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 nope.
Yeah,
Still
no.
human. Still human, no matter what fame you achieve, right?
Yes, I put on one pant leg at a time.
Yeah, I get it.
But when I
So,
get my pants on, I play on Skinny Bob. I don't know. I'm coming up with something. I don't know if it's
Uh,
working.
so we like to do this little lightning round. Are you ready for that?
yeah,
When
no,
we
I'm
get
ready for the
through,
lightning round. Yeah, yeah,
we've
yeah.
got just a few quick
Uh-oh.
questions we're going to throw at you. Easy ones, just
Oh,
easy answers.
okay.
Um,
All
First
right.
thing that comes to your mind too. No deep thought on this one. No deep thought.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
What do you got?
Uh, I love the hair band era. We both grew up during that
Yeah,
time. We
oh
love
yeah.
it. So, what is your most underrated hair band or band from the '80s? Let me be a hair band. Your most underrated band of your the '80s, your genre.
Sig Sig Sputnik.
Do you know? Jeff
I
probably
do.
knows.
I
I
know.
don't know who that is.
I do know. I do know.
I thought they were brilliant. I thought it was
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Awesome. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, maybe it was in this time that you guys were really making it, what would it be?
Learn to sing better.
Oh, interesting.
Are we going to
Yeah.
hear you sing at
I'm
the
not that
Vixen?
good of a singer. Pardon me?
Are we going to hear you sing at the Vixen? Little
No, I
backing
don't think so.
vocals?
Background.
Okay.
Background.
All right.
I'm
All right.
I'm comfortably in the background, yeah.
Okay. All right. What's one gift you've gotten from a fan? The most strangest gift you've gotten from a fan?
Uh I think a girl gave me some Benoit balls one time and said that used to use them to our first album. Like she would listen to her first album. And when it was over, she was done with her exercises and she wanted me to have them.
So used Benoit balls on top of that.
Great.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't
Interesting.
have them handy, but
That was my follow-up question. That was the follow-up.
Are they on your desk?
thank
So
God she didn't want me to sign them. How do you? I never
what
took them
would
out of the
you
plastic baggie she gave them to me in, by the way. I just did not even want to open that. So.
smart, smart. What would you tell a young band that's kind of trying to break through? What piece of advice would you give to them?
It's hard to do that right now. Okay, I'm going to say what I've always said is do what you really, really want to do. Because if you do what you think you should do or what somebody else tells you to do and you fail, You didn't get to do what you wanted to do, and you didn't succeed. At least if you failed doing what you wanted, at least you got to do what you wanted. That's my advice.
Love it.
That's great advice.
Yeah. You got any more?
No, I'm done. I'm done.
All
and
right.
I know Ricky's got to pick up his kids.
Yeah,
I
Ricky's got
survived
things
it.
to do. He's got children to go pick up because life happened since the poison days.
Oh, and not only that, now my son has a job, so at a motorcycle shop. So
nice.
Cool.
He's already eyeing motorcycles. So
is he touring with you or is he staying home?
no, he'll be home. Yeah,
He's
he's got summer school and a girlfriend and a job.
Oh, that'll do it. That'll do it. Well, we are so excited about this show. Again, Thursday, May 21st, and tickets are available at vixenmchenry.com, and we want to see everybody out here. It's going to be an awesome show. I'm really excited knowing you're going to play the entire Poison album, so that's pretty cool.
Yes, plus more. So we're going to do a couple Devil City Angels songs because Brandon and I were in Devil City Angels. A couple surprises. So Stacey and I have been cooking up a couple of other ideas as well too. He's great, by the way. I mean, I finally worked with him for the very first time 2 weeks ago, and I was just like, I made the right choice. That's all I can say.
That's awesome. Because is this the first stop on this new tour? Did I hear?
It is the first.
The first stop. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah,
I love
guys
it.
are it.
Love it.
You
love it.
You are the virgins. Or are we the virgins? We're all virgins.
No.
Yeah, there we go. Well, Rikki, thank you so much.
Let's think of ourselves as virgins.
I'm going to. That's it. We're going to do it.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you May 21st. Leave the Benoit balls at home, please, and we're going to have a good show.
Yes, sir. I think I left them in the dumpster. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome.
Thanks, Rikki. See you in a couple of weeks, buddy.
All right, you too.
All right, bye-bye.